Okay, let me just kind of start by saying these questions, doing on a computer program is not ideal, but it's kind of what, we have to use what we can work with here. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you were taking the exam here, you would be getting, a decent amount of partial credit for what you've done so far on this first example. So just kind of keep that in mind because yeah, this is not ideal, but we'll do what we can here. So right here, this should actually just be a one. Should just be a one, and it's by one of the Pythagorean properties. And so right here, if you actually, I'll go ahead and pull it up. If you look right here, um, go ahead and take a little snapshot of it and put it on the page. Or actually, I might even have it even better there. Yeah, that'll work. That's fine. So let me paste that here. There we go. So what happened here is if you subtract tangent squared and then add 1 to the other side, you can see that this this right here is equal to 1. And so it's Pythagorean identity right there. And then the two sides would be equal because you already showed that the left side equaled 1, and now you're showing that the right side equaled 1 also, and that proves the identity. All right, and then let's look at the other one you sent here. Okay, so once again, everything's looking really good. Everything's good, and then we get to this part right here. And once again, partial credit, you would get most of your credit on this. But what you did here, I can see where you got the tangent squared. What you did was you did sine squared over cosine squared is tangent squared, which I get. I get why you did that. But what they actually want you to do is they don't want you to do that. They want you to go ahead and keep it in this format. So let me show you. So you're supposed to keep it as cosine of theta plus 1, and then we're going to divide it by, and you're supposed to flip this cosine of theta squared over 1 minus cosine of theta squared. And then what we can do here is this is the difference of two squares. So let me give myself a little bit more room. Right, there we go, that's better. So this right here, you can write it as, 1 squared minus cosine squared. So that's the difference of two squares. So I have my cosine of theta plus 1 right here, divided by, and then I've got cosine of theta squared divided by, now this will factor into 1 plus cosine of theta, 1 minus cosine of theta, okay? And then the cosine theta plus 1, same thing as 1 plus cosine of theta, so we'll cross that out. So that leaves us with cosine of theta squared over 1 minus cosine of theta. Now at this point you're going to have to get pretty creative, and I wouldn't, expect you to see this right away, but you always kind of want to keep in mind what you're trying to do. So I need that to be just a cosine at the top right there, cosine of theta over secant of theta minus 1. And so, yeah, this one's pretty challenging. So what we're going to do here is you're actually going to factor out a cosine of theta over, let me give myself much more room, cosine of theta over cosine of theta. And so when I factor that out, that will reduce that down to a cosine of, sorry, it's messy. Sometimes writing on this computer is tough. All right, let me see. So cosine of theta, and then all over, so see, I'm factoring 1 out from here, so this is going to turn into 1 over cosine of theta minus 1. And so if you were to look at this, if you were to multiply this back in, you get your cosine squared. This would become a 1, and then this would become a minus cosine. Now you don't want to do that. What we're going to do is we'll go ahead and cancel this out. That just, reduces down to a 1 right here. So I'm left with this, and this part right here, let's see, is going to turn into, if you do the reciprocal identity, it's the secant of theta, and then you have minus 1 right there. And that's what we were supposed to come up with. And so if you look back up here, that's what we have right there. Cosine of theta over secant of theta um, minus 1. So look, this is, like I said, I know it's frustrating for you because I know it's frustrating for me the way that we have to do these examples using the computer. Typically, this would be a written assignment if it wasn't for everything that's kind of going on with the virus and stuff. But I want to give you questions how they're going to look on the exam, and so that's kind of why we kind of want to practice these so that you're ready for that. So, but one thing to keep in mind is this is not something that you're going to master in one unit. This is something that takes practice over a long period of time. So, I want you to get the most out of this you can, but don't feel too overwhelmed. Yes, you definitely want to grasp some of this, but it's one of those topics that takes time. And I don't know. I mean, I think they're kind of fun because they're kind of like a puzzle you're trying to put together. But anyways, I hope that helps you out.